We're in the offices of Advantage and we're about to meet Colin O'Neill, who's the Business Development Director, and Olga Kelly, who's the HR Manager.
Hi, my name is Colin O'Neill. I'm the Business Development Director of the Advantage Travel Partnership.
And I'm Olga Kelly. I'm HR Manager in Advantage, and I've been with the company since May of last year.
So tell us about your organisation.
The Advantage Travel Partnership is the UK's largest independent travel group, which means we have around 300 member companies and a combined turnover in excess of 3 billion. So we're a very, very large organisation. We service the needs of both leisure agents and business travel agents, and essentially we're a large buying group. We negotiate preferential commercial terms with business partners, tour operators, airlines and hotels, and pass that benefit on to members. And each year we give each member a benefit statement that actually quantifies the individual benefits they get from the organisation. This year it's around about £27,500 worth of benefit, which from a basic membership fee of £1,300 is a very good return on investment. As an organisation, I think there are two things that separate us out from our competitors. Firstly, we're member owned, so the only shareholders of the organisation are the members themselves. And as such, the second difference is we adapt or adopt more of a business consultancy approach to what we do. We obviously provide a huge range of services, commercial terms, marketing, IT support. But what separates us out is actually we have a business development team that take the time to understand the members and their businesses and help them implement business plans. In addition to the business development team, we also have our central resources that become involved as well. So our finance team, our IT team, and in particular our HR manager, who's as active working with the members as she is with the central team here at Advantage.
So do you or your members find it difficult to hire staff?
Yes, actually, in general, the hiring of staff is quite difficult, so both from the members' perspective and Advantage's perspective. And I guess the main reasons from a travel industry perspective is that it is mainly because of salaries. So we're in competition with other industries that are providing better salaries. But we do try to counteract that with building the personality of the team and of the company, and also trying to portray, not trying, but delivering the portrayal of the travel industry being a lot more team culture, and there's a certain environment within the travel industry that is quite unique to the rest of the world, I suppose. So by promoting that, it's benefiting. So it's kind of counteracting the whole salary side.
So it sounds like a lot of your members like to take on people and train them from either other industries or train them into travel and their ways. Is that really, rather than hiring people from within the travel industry at the moment, is that what's happening, or is it a mixture?
It'll be a mixture. It'll depend on what they'll be doing in the travel industry. So, for example, I've never worked in the travel industry before. This is my first travel industry job, and I've been trained and I've been coached and I've been brought along by my peers in the company. However, if you're bringing somebody in who is going to be doing, like a business development consultant, they will definitely need to have a travel industry background and have literally lived and breathed TMC or a leisure agency right from beginning to end, so that they can bring their expertise on a daily basis. So it'll depend on the job, really.
I think where we're finding it working particularly well in terms of recruiting from within the industry are staff that have worked from perhaps a multiple background, where they will have the selling skills and the discipline that comes with being a multiple, but suddenly they join an organisation where they have the freedom to sell what they wish, and it's a perfect combination. I think the difficulty we have, as Olga said, is recruiting the right calibre of staff at the right salary level, but actually the salaries within the travel industry is a common issue affecting the industry as a whole. And certainly from our point of view, how we work with other businesses to recruit people into the organisation, to see actually the appeal of travel in the first place, to offset the salaries is something that we would obviously be keen to take further forward with other businesses.
So the difficulties in hiring staff, do you think that they might hamper your members' businesses in any way?
Well, clearly, if you have a vacancy you can't fill, it has an impact upon the business. So it is an issue. The one positive throughout all of this is the current staff within the businesses. Our agents have a reputation for staff loyalty and retention. So whereas bringing new staff in may be an issue, one of the real positive weapons, I think, in the independent armoury is the retention and developing the loyalty of staff within their current businesses.
Does your organisation help support its members? For example, HR helplines, or what sort of methods do you have in helping your members with HR issues?
We come at it from both the proactive end and the reactive end. The proactive end is more from the business. So the business development consultants will visit members on a regular basis, and they'll also be in constant telephone communication with them and email. So they'll have built up a very, very strong relationship with their members, depending on the location. And then from a reactive point of view, some of the members will call me up or email me and ask a specific question, and I'll work with them and coach them through either a process. It can be employee relations, so the legal side, or it can be just best practice. What would you do in this situation, or what's the best interviewing technique, and then I would talk them through that. But we do, the business development consultants and myself will work quite closely so that there's only one message going to the member rather than it being conflicted.
How do your members generally focus on retaining staff? Have you noticed anything unusual that people are doing? What different ways do you also look to help retain staff?
I think typically they would use the current means of retaining staff, whereas again salaries are limited. There are lots of incentives and bonus schemes in place for agents, so I think that helps supplement it. I think where it moves on to actually retaining the staff are things like the opportunity to go on familiarisation trips. I remember once somebody saying, working in the travel industry will never make you a millionaire, but you can live like one. And often our agents get to visit destinations with tour operators that they probably couldn't do in their own right. So I think that goes a long way to supplementing that. I think the other area is probably that of training, which Olga touched upon earlier. Not only do we offer skills training, particularly in the business travel area, in areas like ticketing, which are very specialist, but we also offer skills training as well. So business development, closing the sale, marketing, social media, even through to working with middle managers and team managers to make the most of them. So I think making them feel capable and able to do their job better. But I think the fundamental difference that allows our agents to retain their staff goes back to what I said a little earlier about the background and the freedom to sell. Typically, the members own the business, so it's their own personality they bring to bear, and all businesses are different. As a consequence, the staff are empowered to be able to make the right decisions for their customer. And I think of nothing greater as a motivator than an agent being able to sell the customer really what they think's right for them, drawing upon a wide range of products available. So I think it's the working environment that goes a long way to helping retention and the development of staff.
Yes, so there really you're talking about culture. So the advantage culture is also to develop the people as well as the businesses, which then perpetuates a culture across many of your members, not just each member having, although they're going to be very individual, you're kind of really helping enable that.
Absolutely. We, as an organisation, I mentioned earlier about one of our uniquenesses about the fact that the members own the business. And I think that does drive how we work with the members and how we create the culture. Our complete raison d'etre is to make profitable members and help them to be profitable. And all the people here centrally, Olga, the business development team, engage with members, get to understand their businesses, and in fairness, really, really enjoy working with the agents. What that does is allow the agent to take away the kind of responsibilities of ensuring they work within HR policies and procedures, so they can concentrate on the business of selling, knowing that they've got a kind of safe, strong, big organisation behind them. And I think it's the perfect combination, which has made us the successful organisation we really are today.
Okay, we talked about the difficulty in hiring staff, but also, is there a turnover issue in the travel industry or with it amongst your members? Do you think you've got a lower turnover than the average? Do you know what the average amount is in terms of time?
I don't know what the average is. I would think across our membership the turnover would be lower. I think typically they employ an older age of person, so I would think the average overall would of retention would be higher, which is what I said earlier in terms of the loyalty.
Yeah. So turnover itself isn't such a problem. It's more as companies as your members are expanding or as head offices are sort of moving forward, that's when the difficulties in the hiring come along rather than replacing. Because it sounds like with the family culture and all the efforts you do in trying to help and retain staff, that's all working well, which is good.
We're definitely below average. So the amount of turnover and shift in employees is much lower. So most of our recruitment for the last 10 months or so has been because of expansion and because of extra headcount, because we are venturing into different areas, and so we need to bring in different skills, and so that's why the recruitment has been reasonably high.
How do you help retain staff at Advantage head office?
Echoing what Colin just said, so we have quite a heavy emphasis on learning and development, and that's one of my big projects this year, is to do a trainee needs analysis, and that would come both from the directors and the MD, but also is very employee led. So what do you think you need as skills or knowledge to develop you to go into the next level? So it's not their career path has been laid out for them and you must follow that. It's where do you want to go? What do you want to explore? And it's also not focused purely on the business, but also different areas of the business that they wouldn't naturally have exposure to. So it's looking at that. And then it's the usual. We have a really good pension, so which they join after 3 months. It's an auto-enrollment. Some of the more quirky things would be we can buy and sell holidays up to 5 days a year. We provide free fruit on Mondays. There is always treats and chocolate and cakes. Always, and I sit right beside the kitchen, so yeah, it doesn't have to be a birthday. If somebody comes back from holidays or a birthday, or somebody just fancies some chocolate, so they don't just buy it for themselves, they buy it for the whole office. So yeah, there's that. And there's also gym membership, which is only, the employee only has to pay £10 a month towards, and they have the facility for all over Islington, the Islington Borough.
Two others I can think of that I think are worthwhile. Again, we're not a big organisation. Centrally, we're about 50 people. But it's important, I think, that you engage with staff. We have on a regular basis something called Meet the Boss, which is Julia has breakfast, typically with either new staff or staff that have been here in the first 6 months. And that works really, really well because it's informal. It's a breakfast. We do have regular staff meetings on a monthly basis, but that doesn't always work. I think you need to work things through on different levels. And I think that's something that makes new staff feel engaged. The fact that the boss, the managing director's taking time out their diary to speak to them, which should be the case anyway, but sometimes people, if they've come from a different culture, would find that different. And something that's really, really small but resonates very, very strongly is we give people their birthdays a day off. It's something we came across several years ago, and people could kind of throw a sickie if they want for their birthday, but the fact that we give them a 3 days holiday for their birthday is immensely valuable to people.
Yeah, they appreciate that.
They do, yeah, they do.
Absolutely. Just in little things sometimes.
Yeah.
Make a big difference.
Exactly, like the free fruit on Mondays, that's really popular. On the back of just what Colin there, he just reminded me there's a new initiative that I've launched, is the HR Happy Hour. Nothing to do with alcohol, unfortunately, but it is an hour with HR, so 3 people will join me for a coffee and a cake or a muffin or something like that. We'll go across the cafe across the road, and we'll just chat for an hour, and hopefully from that I'll get little tidbits of information that maybe we can incorporate into either a big project or a small project, and hopefully I can find some trends rather than doing an annual survey, which is very real time. It's that point in time they're feeling. So I'm trying to get a perspective from the whole team, every single level, no matter how long they've been with us. From and having that at any point in time. So what are the general trends that are going through the last 12 months, all different levels, and then try to incorporate that into projects.
So what do you believe makes staff happy at work?
From where I sit, I think people, from a Vantage perspective, there's a very strong leadership. However, it's quite a silent leadership in that it's not people being told what to do or very lead-faced. There is that support in the background. The leaders are more like supports. And in terms of the kind of everyday work, people have autonomy, people have freedom, and it's very employee-led. So people sort of get on with their work. They're given KPIs, they're given objectives, they know what direction they should go in. How you actually proceed is really entirely up to you. If you need support in knowing which way to proceed, well then you can get that support from your line manager or from a director or from HR, or from anybody, whoever might know. So I think that is largely what makes people quite happy. There's no real evidence of micromanagement, which is always a bugbear for people.
Absolutely. And anything to add to that, Colin?
Well, you have to have the fundamentals in place, that people feel they're getting rewarded properly for what they do in a number of areas. It's ultimately how you enjoy the work that you do. We spend a long time at work, and we hopefully employ people that really enjoy working here. I think the central culture we have is very, very strong. It's silly things like when we have a Christmas party, everybody comes to it. Only those people are either on holiday or not very well. But it isn't a chore. Everybody genuinely likes working with one another, enjoys each other's company. And I think that spreads across the membership as well, because we're ultimately people business, an engagement business. And I think that if people are happy here, again, what Olga said, we need obviously the rules and regulations and the structure within people operate. But we employ individuals, we employ individual personalities, and our wish is that those individuals express their differences and individuality within the business, both here and across the membership.
It sounds like quite a family.
We have used the word before. It sounds a bit cheesy now, but people enjoy working here. We have a lot of people who have been here a number of years, and I think that's a reflection that people like coming to work. Often some of them travelling quite distances to come here every day, but I think people enjoy it, and it's creating that culture where people enjoy it. Because my view is that if you enjoy what you're doing and you're happy and you're having a good time, you're better at doing it, and ultimately the productivity in what you offer other people is the same.
So what problems do you foresee in the future for recruitment, do you think?
One of the primary reasons from Advantage's perspective is personal. So location, as Colin said, we have quite a lot of people here who have to travel quite a bit, and we're saying quite a bit each way is 2 hours, so it's quite a long commute. But they've done it for probably the last 2 years or so. Their personal situation has changed, and they decide actually, that 2 hour commute is really taking its toll on me, so I need to leave. And then on top of that, people have relocated back to their hometown. Maybe that is, again, like a 2 hour commute.
What difficulties have you noticed amongst your members in terms of you mentioned before that you're hiring from outside, so these quite young members, older members, they come from different industries. What are your observations on that?
I think largely the members are currently recruiting probably from inside of travel, some people from outside of travel. I think our real concern, looking even further down the line, is children, teenagers seeing career in travel. That's a real issue I think we all face. I think IT and other areas seem to be a career path, but travel doesn't necessarily be seen to be one of them. It's interesting, we just commissioned a piece of research with 12 to 14-year-olds, whereby one of the questions we asked a group of about 12, 14-year-olds is, would they see a career in travel? And they didn't see that at all. Once you got into talking about the benefits it provided, like travel, then they could see it. But from a first off, when we talked about it, and it was a focus group about travel, then they never actually saw travel or travel agency as a route for them.
Is it because they're not taking travel seriously as an industry? So the travel industry is something a bit fun. You go on holiday, surely there can't be a serious career. Or do you think it's parents saying, no, you should be doing something professional and that's a proper career, and travel is just something you do just casually?
Partly. I think it's partly that. I think also, and a task for us to do is for the travel agent to reassert their role within the buying process. People buy a lot more online, research online, and book online. But it's really is a question of, in not huge amounts of instances, but in some instances, getting the travel agent to fit back within the overall booking process. And once we're able to do that, and the 12 to 14-year-olds sees the role of the travel agent, then they might see the opportunity for them to do something. So I think partly it's to do with the anonymity, potentially, of the travel agent and the overall booking process that's causing the problem that we potentially face in the future.
Interesting. Do you think it's a role Advantage might pursue?
Fundamentally, yeah. I mean, that's the business of what we do. We provide obviously the services for today, but we've always got one eye on tomorrow. That's the whole point of doing the research with the kind of 14-year-olds. Lots of research around the areas of 25 to 35 and above, but we said, well, actually, we ought to be looking at before that, and that's why we did it, because it was quite revealing in terms of what it said about people's attitudes. Once you started to talk about the benefits of what the travel agent had to offer, then their fundamental perceptions changed. So there's an issue for us to do there with our members, but as the leading organisation, we see it as our responsibility with other companies to take that fight forward.
Very good. Thank you very much.